Hello, everyone. Greetings, all. Greetings, greetings, greetings. So, I am back. Um, so, I decided to do a series on my favorite movies growing up from, a child, teenager years, and stuff like that. All the movies that I just really loved. My sister and I would watch, my mother and I would watch, things of that nature. As I mentioned before in one of my other, I don't know, movie reviews, that I gained such a love for movies due to the fact that my mom always had me at the movies and was even inspired to be an actress, you know. Um, but I have such a love for movies, really, really good ones, at least the ones that I think are good. Anyhow, so if this is your first time stopping by my channel, hello to everyone. I am Queenly Vibes here out of the beautiful state of Florida. And I'm kind of just relaxing right now or what have you. You know, got to be up for work tomorrow. But I'm just doing what I enjoy doing. So I pray that each and every one of you have had a blessed weekend thus far. All of that good stuff. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, share the video, and of course, feel free to leave a comment. So again, the name of this movie is Cooley High. It's the movie Cooley High, which I'm pretty sure so many of you have already seen this movie. It is a classic. And like I said, my sister and I, we will watch this movie over and over and over again. And like I said, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the series on all the movies that I just really enjoyed growing up from a kid up until now. You know, because I have favorites now of some of the new movies that are out that I do enjoy. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little bit of background about this movie, Cooley High, because I actually, in doing the research, um, I learned some things that I didn't know that was based on this movie, you know, that I just didn't know about. Okay, so, and I pray that you all can hear me okay. I think pretty soon, let me just move this up closer, that I would probably have to get a microphone, get better equipment, and all of that. I've been doing this YouTube thing now. I started this channel, I believe, in 2020 or 2021 or something like that. And, you know, I'm just taking my time with it. You know, some people have channels and they blow up right away. And some of us just have to be a little bit more patient, you know, what have you. Which I truly don't mind, you know. It is what it is. I'm on here, as I mentioned before, to uplift. You know, this channel is a safe place for those of you who are Christians, for those of you who aren't, you know, as long as you're respectful. You know, I enjoy talking about my faith in God. I enjoy movies. I enjoy, you know, talking about whatever is current, um, you know, healing, being healthy, you know, mentally and spiritually, being healthy in your body, knowing your self-worth, you know, all of that good stuff. Anything positive, that's what I'm about over here. Okay, so if you all are on that same path, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Okay, anyhow, let's get into Cooley High. Oh my gosh, it's so many great things about this movie. Now, mind you, this movie, it came out in 1975. Okay, I watched this movie like late 80s. I want to say mid to late 80s, early 90s. Okay, because I was born in 73. Okay, so do the math and you know, so I watched this movie like late. I think my first time seeing it was definitely like mid to late 80s. Okay. Anyhow, so Cooley High is loosely based on a true story. The film is inspired by um, it's a guy by the name of Eric Monte, and there's a lot behind him as well. So the film is inspired by Eric Monte, real real life experience of growing up in Chicago. Monte wrote the film based on his time at the real Cooley High Vocational High School. The film includes various fictional elements to tell a fulfilling and emotionally resonant coming of age story. And this is also a spoiler alert. And like I said, many of you, I'm pretty sure you've already have seen the movie, but I'm just gonna, talk about what I love about it and things of that nature. And to those of you who haven't seen it yet, this will be a spoiler alert. So I would recommend that you watch it first, then come back and watch this video. Okay. We have characters. Let me go into the characters of the cast. One of the characters is Glenn Turman. He's done plenty of films, especially around in this era of like the 70s and stuff like that. And we know him as, what was his character's name? I think it was the professor on A Different World. No, I lied. He was the colonel on A Different World. He ended up marrying Jaleesa's character, right? And he's done movies. This man is such a phenomenal actor. Also, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. Let me get his name. And by the way, Glenn Turman, he portrayed the role as Preach in this movie. Let's see, let me get the characters. Yeah, the cast members. Yeah, Glenn Turman, he portrayed Leroy Preach Jackson. Lawrence Hilton Jacobs portrayed the character Richard Cochise Morris. Now, Cochise, oh my God, I had the biggest crush. My son is making noise in the background, don't worry. I had the biggest crush on Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. And now, this is another phenomenal actor. He also portrayed Joe Jackson in All American, the Jackson 5 story. Such a great movie. You all should check that one out as well. But I had such a big crush on him after watching this movie. I thought he was just so dreamy in my little, young teenage heart. And oh my God, it was just so devastating in what happened to him. So anyhow, I don't want to get into that right now. Okay. But who else is in this? Garrett Morris. Phenomenal actor. He played Mr. Mason. He was a teacher in this movie. We know Garrett Morris, of course, from The Martin Show. We know him from The Jamie Foxx Show. And he's done movies and everything. The last thing I believe I've seen him in was the biography movie, the biopic for oh my God, she was a millionaire, like one of the first Black female millionaires for the hair care products and all of that. Madam, her name was Madam. I think it was Madam C.J. Walker. Let me find that out very quickly. Hang on. just because I want to, have my facts straight. Yeah, hold on. C.J. Walker. Yes, Madam C.J. Walker. He was in that series on Netflix, and this guy, he's just a phenomenal actor, very talented, and all of that. Garrett Morris. Um, so I'm gonna go into. I'll talk about the other characters in a minute. Um, but yeah, it was some. I read something about at first this movie wasn't a true story, but in getting more information about it, it was loosely based on a true story. Now this guy Eric Monte, he actually was one of the writers for the hit show Good Times, that was based out of Chicago, and he and oh my gosh, he and the what's the guy's name? I believe he was fired from the show or what have you because there was a discrepancy um, with the guy that he have a lot of TV shows. I'll get his name in a moment. But anyhow, and he was also one of the writers for the hit television show What's Happening, which was based off of, it was like a spinoff to Cooley High, right? So this guy Eric Monte was extremely talented. It's just really sad what happened to him, or because he ended up, having a substance abuse problem, and some issues that went on with him. As a matter of fact, let me just Google that real quick. Hang on. Yeah, he was a really, really very good writer. He wrote and co-created several sitcom shows such as Good Times, as I mentioned, The Jeffersons. Let me see what else. What's Happening? Waiting for my computer to load so I can get some of the background on him. Yeah, so this movie basically was centered around his life story, growing up, becoming of age out of Chicago. Yeah, it says he was a screenwriter. Years active was out of 1971 to 2001. I believe he's still alive. Hold on. Yeah, Eric Monte, born Kenneth Williams, December 25th, 1943. Um, yeah, okay, so Kenneth Williams, um, he was born in Chicago, Illinois. Monte was raised in, this is the same person. He was raised in the Cabrini Green housing projects near the north side. During his junior year, Monte dropped out of Cooley Vocational High School and enlisted in the United States Army. After soon his stint in the Army, Monte hitchhiked on Route 66, eventually landing in Hollywood after stops in Arizona and Los Angeles. Okay, and the list goes on about this guy's amazing talent. Um, Yeah, he wrote for shows. There's other shows, The White Shadow. Oh yeah, he had an issue with Norman Lear. That's the guy's name. Um, I think allegedly it was something to the fact of um, allegedly that Norman Lear didn't give him the proper credit, for his writing, and maybe kind of stole some of his ideas, and he didn't get paid for it allegedly, things of that nature. Um, he did some writing for the Wayans brothers, Moesha. So this guy, as I mentioned, was extremely talented, and he did have, unfortunately, some issues later on in life. And, a lot of us, have our issues and things of that nature, but amazing talent. So, you know, um, shouts out to Mr. Eric Monte. He deserves the best. I mean, talented man. Um, yeah, I don't see anything about him passing. I see that he's age 79, so at least this is what I'm reading. So, shouts out to Eric Monte and other African American screenwriters and everything, just extremely talented. So, this movie is centered around, a couple of young men growing up, as I mentioned, in the north side of Chicago. Glenn Turman, Preach, Cochise. There was a character by the name of Pooter, Tyrone, and there was another guy. So they were just typical African American young men, just surviving, living life, going to high school. All of them had dreams about what they wanted to do with their lives. Of course, they were girl crazy and everything. They had girls on the brain, So Cochise's character was very popular. He was an All-American basketball player, so he was extremely popular. And as I mentioned, very dreamy, very good looking, tall, all of that good stuff. So all of the girls wanted him, and all of the guys wanted to be like him. So it was centered around that, and just these guys just growing up, having girlfriends, trying to, that teenage stage of dabbling with sex and alcohol, and just having parties, having fun, all of that good stuff. But they all had dreams and goals and everything. But when you're at that awkward stage of high school, of course you don't have it all together. But one of the things that I did enjoy is that they all were in school. You know, they weren't dropouts or what have you. They were all pursuing something. They all had some form of dreams. And Cochise is, he just knew he was going to be, this basketball player and go off and go to college and stuff like that. And Preach, he wanted to be, he was this phenomenal writer. He could write poetry, and he was such a charmer, but his boys didn't really know that or whatever, because he would reveal that to one of the female characters, Brenda, who was this beautiful light-skinned girl. She looked like a model and everything, and he wrote a poem for her or what have you. So he had all of this hidden talent, and he just wanted to do something different with his life other than what the norm was, you know. And towards the end, it did ended up saying that he went off to be, this writer and everything. So and then it did have characters in it, like there was these two thugs by the name of Stone and Robert, and this is what I learned. Um, I think I found out about this maybe like a year or so ago, about Robert and Stone. Um, let's see. Let me just Google that really quickly. And I was like, oh, really? I had no idea. Come to find out, like I'm thinking that they were actors. Come to find out, they actually weren't actors. They were really just the neighborhood thugs hanging out, and they were picked to portray their characters, which were real characters. Like it's, with what I found out about them, like all the stuff that they did in the movie was actually real, So in other words, they were just being themselves, and it was just like, okay, in action, and they were just giving real lines. They were just being themselves. Go figure. I had no idea. So hang on one second. Let's see, Robert and Stone. Okay, so let me just hold on. Yeah, so like I said, their characters' name were Robert and Stone. And it's so funny because the dark skinned guy, I don't know if you all remember the group. Oh my God, what is the, the name of? It just seems like as soon as I turn my camera on, all of a sudden I forget stuff. Um, the Force MDs. The dark skinned guy, he looks exactly like the lead singer for the Force MDs, because all I can see is his face in that video from back in the day of Tender Love. Like the Force MDs were just a bomb. I still listen to their music now today. Like good music just, it never fades out. Like Tender Love, and what was that other song? I think it was Love is a House or what have you, like just bomb. And the lead singer looks exactly like the dark skinned guy for this character in Cooley High. Um, yeah, it says that Robert Stone and Norman Gibson, the actors who played Stone and Robert in Cooley High, had a very tough life after landing those roles. Um, hold on. I thought it would say more. But anyhow, I believe you guys can pull up footage about that here, on YouTube. You can pull that up because this is where I saw the video learning about these two gentlemen on YouTube or what have you. So, okay, it says two of the most memorable characters in the film are Stone and Robert, the two gangsters who beat Cochise, left him for dead underneath the train tracks, which was just, horrendous. One aspect that the audience pointed out was how natural it was for them to portray gangsters. And as I mentioned earlier, And the reason for that is they were real gangsters um, in real life. Okay, so now Rick Stone is the one that's, the dark skinned guy. He's still alive. He did spend some time in prison and everything, but I think his life is a little bit more stable now. The other guy, he ended up, he lost his life due to a attempted robbery. You know, so pretty much, as I mentioned, the same lifestyle that they were portraying in the movie is what they were doing, in real life. So it's really tragic. Um, Let me see if I can get more about the other one. Yeah, it says Norman. It says, sadly, 1 year and 3 months after Cooley High was released, Norman was killed was unalived, excuse me. He was unalived in his Chicago neighborhood after a group of men robbed him during a dice game. He was only 25 years old. So, correction, he wasn't robbing someone, but it was a group of men that robbed him. Um, and so he lost his life due to that, and he was only 25 years old. So just tragic, tragic. Um, let's talk about some of the good things, because this is a lot of the sad stuff and all of that. I really enjoyed the soundtrack, because it was a lot of Motown music. You can hear Smokey Robinson, Diana Ross, the Supremes, the Four Tops. So the soundtrack was the bomb. I often feel as if, God makes no mistakes. It's just me, based on the fact that I love the 70s so much. I love that whole era. I love the fashion, the music, the look, because even now I'm natural and stuff like that. I remember seeing pictures of my mom, like back in the day. She was just always so beautiful, and still beautiful to this day. Her hair was kind of blonde, and she had this huge afro and the earrings, and she kind of looked like Thelma from Good Times. She resembled her. She had the bell bottoms and her little tops, just bomb. So I just feel like I should have been a teenager during the 70s, and all of that. But God makes no mistake. This is just my love for it and all of that, the fashion, all of that good stuff, the music. I'm a big lover of just old school. Just like, a lot of old school where I felt like the music was a little bit more meaningful. Um, just the lyrics of, music that was out during that time, and of course, 80s music and some of the 90s music and everything. So I just have a lot of love for that because, and not to say these kids today aren't talented, because they are, but it's just so much garbage that's out here now. The filthiness of the music, and all of that is just so, it's just so annoying to hear, just the pollution on the airways. A lot of it I just simply cannot listen to. I just go back, into old school and listen to what is decent, what is, positive and, meaningful. So anyhow, and another one of my favorite scenes is that when they had that party, and girl, she had her quarter party, and everything. And it's just so cute to me just to see how, like, because this is my mom's era and all of that, like how they, how they had parties and what they did for fun. Because I can remember being a kid and my mom would have like house parties and stuff. Like that was the normal thing to do, to have a couple of friends over, have some music, some food, just good, clean fun. And so that party scene, um, where the young lady had her quarter party, because she was like, I'm having a quarter party, and don't y'all break nothing in here, because my mama paid for this, and my mama ain't finished paying for that, and all of it. Just hilarious. And she had a thing for the guy Tyrone, and he just thought he was so smooth. He had his straightened out hair, and he just thought he was bomb or whatever. So she had her party, and Cochise was already talking to one of the girls or what have you, and then there was this pretty thing that comes in there, and she's all sitting on the couch and all of that, and the girl that Cochise was like kind of messing around with, he just ignores her and goes over to the pretty young thing or what have you, and the girl is just standing there looking at him like, no, he didn't. Like, did he just walk past me to go over there? Like, okay. So he asks, the young lady to dance. So they're like dancing, and this is the term of, slow dragging. Like they were really all up on each other, So I'm like, me and my sister were like, oh, okay, So they danced and all of that. Lo and behold, her boyfriend, walks in or what have you. So it was a whole mess with that, and the girl was screaming like, "Oh, y'all can't be fighting in my mama's house. Y'all can't be doing this and that." So they tore that house up. It was just a hot mess, So just good fun memories with this movie, and of course, the last scene where Cochise ended up being unalive because the two characters, the thugs out of Chicago, they accidentally unalive him. And, I don't think it was something that, I don't think it's what they intended upon doing, but they hit him, and then his head hit a metal object or what have you, and I believe it broke his neck. So that's what ended up taking his life, and they ran off or what have you. Preacher, he comes back and he finds him. Just the saddest thing. Every time I watch this movie and I see this part, I cry, hoping that there can be a different alternative to the ending of this movie or what have you. Preach is the only one that didn't attend the funeral as everyone else. He had his own little memorial service with Cochise. And you know what? I thought that was kind of special. I really did, because everybody grieves differently, right? So it showed that, and the girl that he was really into, Brenda, she saw him, and a couple of the other kids, they ended up seeing him, and then he just ends up at the end like he's just running off or what have you, and then they show the whole breakdown of what happened to everyone as far as their professional careers and all of that, and I just thought that was dope. However, I do believe the one guy that was there with the other two, gangster guys, I believe he should have been in prison, but he ended up having a great career and all of that. But he should have been in prison behind, because he was there. He didn't call the police or what have you. Did he didn't unalive him, but it was like he was in what they call it, like an access to unaliving, I guess. But he, he really didn't unalive him. Anyhow, go and check this movie out, Cooley High, and I definitely will be back with one of another of my favorite movies. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and have a blessed weekend. I will see you next time. Take care.